now in terms of their coaching search. Still no definitive news on JJ Redick. It seems like all signs are pointing in that direction right now.
But did it surprise you that now that the NBA Finals were wrapped up that we didn't get an announcement yesterday? Because that's what I was anticipating.
I agree with you. I thought maybe there was kind of a quiet moratorium where Adam Silver, the commissioner of the league, could say to the other teams like, hey, can we just focus on Boston, Dallas for a little bit?
Right.
Wait till it's over. So maybe today we start to get this stuff, but we did get something. Jonathan Givony, ESPN draft insider and analyst, was on NBA Today yesterday with Brian Windhorst and Malika Andrews and company and gave this update as to the latest on Bronny James.
I don't think it's going to surprise anybody that we have him 55th to the Lakers. This has been...
I mean, that's a big deal.
This is the way that it's been trending for years now. NBA teams that I talk to say they cannot get Bronny James into their building. Teams that are drafting in the late 20s and the 30s. The Phoenix Suns have a second workout scheduled with Bronny later this week. But other than that, we have not seen any NBA team be able to work him out. The sense among teams is that his agent, Rich Paul, does not want him on a two-way contract. And the range that he's going to be picked, that 40 to 58 range, those are where two-way contracts are handed out. So it's looking right now like Bronny James is going to slide there to 55. I don't think any NBA team wants to, pick him and deal with the repercussions of that. So that's the way it's trending as of today.
The way Rich Paul is acting is the way a player acts when he's got a draft promise. Am I right in saying that? And so you'd say, well, who does have a draft promise? Well, it doesn't take much deduction where somebody would promise Bronny James. It would be at the pick the Lakers have in the second round.
Oh, Evan, my, how this has turned. Remember in the beginning of this process when Bronny James said, I just want to fulfill my dream of being in the NBA. I just want to go about this process. I'm just a regular prospect like everybody else. Well, reality has hit, and it's slowly but surely been coming out. But the fact that other teams might be interested in Bronny James and they can't get a hold of him or get him in his building because of a potential, as Wendy outlined, draft promise that he could go to the Lakers, and his agent, Rich Paul, doesn't want him necessarily to visit with other teams because he doesn't want him on a two-way contract. When have we ever heard of a player who is projected to go between, 40 and 55, 58 maybe, and they're not going to every possible visit that they can, that they're not embracing every aspect of this process or wanting any team that could have potential interest in them to see what they can do? But that's why at the beginning of this entire thing, I was like, why are we pretending that Bronny James is an average prospect? He can say all the right things, but his actions and that of Rich Paul and Clutch, and frankly of LeBron and the Lakers, have shown you that he's not the average prospect. He's LeBron James' son, and he's being treated as such.
Does Bronny James want to play in the NBA, or does he want to play with his dad? So this is two different things. These are two different things. Gavoni's report yesterday indicating teams can't get him in the building, to me, means he just wants to play with his dad. Now, in theory, that is okay. In that scenario, you're almost better off undrafted. You should just tell everybody you do not want to be drafted. Because in that, you could just sign with the Lakers then. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to be a two-way deal. You're an undrafted free agent that signs a standard NBA contract with the team that wants you and the team that you want. Because I think Rich Paul is the best agent in the NBA. Let's not get it twisted. And this is exactly why he's the best agent in the NBA.
Certainly the most powerful.
Yeah, because he is doing everything possible for his clients, even if it seems to the rest of us like it is completely and utterly unreasonable. It is ridiculous that a player that averaged 5 points a game in college, now granted, his preparation and his season cut short because of an unfortunate heart condition. I am not blaming Bronny James for the late start, all of that stuff, right?
Of course not.
But
the numbers are the numbers.
The numbers are the numbers. Exactly right. Like, this is all about him going to play with his dad. To not take visits with any team that calls you is unbelievable to me. He doesn't want to play in the NBA based on the perception that we are getting right now. He wants to play with the Los Angeles Lakers and his father. Now, that is okay, but there's one other thing that Gavony said there, Smalls, dealing with the repercussions of what happens if he gets drafted. So wait a minute. So if a young man who, by all accounts, is a wonderful young man, and Bronny James, everybody says great things about him, fulfills a lifelong dream by going to the NBA, there's going to be repercussions by somebody drafting him, averaging 5 points a game or whatever it is at a USC? What are we talking about here? He should ask to not be drafted. Just tell everybody you do not want to be drafted. You will not sign with anyone that actually drafts you.
I think the message that they're putting out there is that he's going to the Lakers at 55, period. The end. And
well, not if somebody drafts him at 54 or 53.
But by not visiting with those teams that are showing interest, I think that that's the message that's trying to be pushed across, is that you might have interest in Bronny James, but he doesn't necessarily have interest in you. And whether a team wants to take a chance on him, even if he maybe didn't go through the process with them, that's up to them. But I just can't really understand, Evan, why he would want to put himself in this position. And by that, I don't mean playing with his dad, but I mean giving people like us and basketball fans ammunition against him. There's already going to be all of these people that call him a Nepo baby and say he only got this opportunity because of who his dad is. But by going about this process in this manner and basically having your dad tell his team to handpick you and not going about this process like your peers do, you're giving everyone more ammunition. I don't know why he personally would want to do that. Now, I know he's under the guidance of not only his dad, but Rich Paul, and it's probably beneficial for him to listen to them given the amount of power and influence that the two of them have within the NBA. And clearly they have his best interest at heart. But I just don't think that this is going to be beneficial for him in the long run.
Yeah, like he wants to work for his dad's company. That's not new. That's not new. The problem is he works in a business where it's not under his control. In order for him to work for his dad's company as an active player, other people have a chance to employ him prior, and it's not up to him. So the reality is he does not want to. It is not in Bronny James's best interest, based on what Jonathan Givony reported yesterday, to be drafted. It is not in his best interest to be drafted. Because if he is drafted before 55, then the goals and aspirations that he has, which is not to play in the NBA, it's to play with his dad in the NBA. There's a difference. Right? And to work for his dad's company, which again happens every day, everywhere. That's okay. That's not abnormal. But the process of getting there is way, way, way different.
It is. And I also wonder how the Lakers feel about all of this, because clearly they know Bronny James and they have a relationship with him because of his dad. But it seems like a lot to go through and a lot of things to have to maneuver in order to make one employee of your company, if that's the way we're going to describe it, happy.
Well, he's the most important employee of your company. So,
but he's also going to retire soon. He's not going to be there long term. So, you're wasting a pick on him, allegedly or hypothetically. I don't want to say wasting because he could end up being somebody that contributes, but you're electing to use your capital that you have in the draft to go after this person, maybe because not necessarily because he's the best player available at that moment, but because you want to make a current employee happy.
Yes, but at the same time, like LeBron James is worth it. If every NBA team gets 17 roster spots and you want to say because we have LeBron, we get 16 because he gets one, it's worth it. Let's not get it twisted. So if Bronny James was an undrafted player and he signed with the Lakers, that's easy. That's why I'm saying it's actually in the best interest for him not to be drafted at all, because they don't have to worry about using the 55th pick on him and everybody wondering like, oh, whatever it is, like, why did you pick him there? Or another team drafting him, which would be, based on what Givony said, a disaster for Bronny, because now they're going to say, well, we don't want this contract. We want to play here. What is he going to ask out? If a team drafts him before 55 that's not the Lakers, is he going to demand a trade? I mean, is that what you want to do as a 5-point per game player at a USC? It is in Bronny James' best interest to not be drafted, so that he can sign with the Lakers. LeBron has earned the right to have his son on the team.
Why? Why has he earned the right to have his son on the team?
He's the most. We'll continue this conversation because that conversation has to be continued. But if Bronny James does not get drafted by the Lakers and has to stay on the road somewhere else, I would suggest